Lady Anne, come back with me. I'll free you from this brainwashing. But before we go, put this on.
The Duke of Xenon extended his right hand. In it, he held a small atomizer. Then, he hopped effortlessly to the boulder where she stood.
Today's the 3rd day. Your shields have worn out. This will give you another 3 days.
Please, forget about me for good. The girl you see before you isn't the Lady Anne you loved, Father.
Oh, how can you say that?
The Duke of Xenon extended both of his huge hands as if in appeal. A second later, purple light connected Lady Anne and the Duke of Xenon's right index finger.
Ah!
Lady Anne bent back as far as she possibly could. It looked as if she'd been completely paralyzed, and white smoke rose from her body. In the Duke of Xenon's eyes lurked madness deeper than the darkness.
If I have to hand you over to another, I'd sooner... No. Just consider this your punishment for betraying your father and abandoning him. Die here and now. Wait just a minute. Yes, I'm sure.
If he'd had another second, the next thing he said surely would have explained everything. However, the eyes of the Duke of Xenon's exoskeleton glowed red as he turned to his right and the road. Lady Anne collapsed, just as Sergei had. The figure who stood about 15 feet away, with watery light behind him, looked like a Grim Reaper in black who'd just arrived on his trusty steed to oversee the demise of the other players. However, this Grim Reaper was beautiful. So beautiful, you could call him the devil. So beautiful, he might be mistaken for an angel. And before she could do either, a person would undoubtedly offer up her life and soul in rapture. D.
Do you have any idea how I've searched for you? Oh, you don't have your left hand back yet, do you? Great! That means the battle's as good as decided.
You didn't have to search for me. I've been following you all along, and now I've finally caught up to you.
What? For how long?
Ever since you disappeared in front of the gate. The sound of you burrowing through the earth reached the surface fairly well.
I'm surprised you had the nerve to follow me, especially wounded like that. And without your left hand to cover for those wounds, you think you can defeat me, Roland, the Duke of Xenon? On top of all that, aren't you still blind, D?
D had both eyes shut firmly. The hunter drew his sword. His body went into motion. Astonished, the Duke of Xenon backed away. Neither the speed of the hunter's leap nor the aura that crashed down on him like the angry sea seemed that of a dying man. Tendrils of blue electromagnetic reached out from the right shoulder of his armor like spidery limbs. Another fraction of an inch and D's blade probably would have reached the Duke's body within. The Duke of Xenon watched D land, and then circled his armored form around behind the hunter. His speed was in excess of Mach 3. The Duke of Xenon had plenty of time to take aim at D's back. Was this to be a replay of the battle in front of the main gate? A flash of light came from D. He'd reversed his grip on his sword and made a thrust behind him. The blade penetrated the armor like it was paper, piercing the Duke of Xenon through the heart. The massive exoskeleton became thin shreds of paper dancing in the wind. All that remained on the ground was an imposing man struggling to retain his footing.